The baby's scream cuts through 30,000 feet of pressurized air like a blade through silk. Rafe Calderone doesn't flinch. Alphas don't flinch. But his jaw locks tight enough to crack teeth as his son, 3 months old, red-faced, choking on his own terror, writhes in his tattooed arms. The gold watch on Rafe's wrist catches cabin light. $200,000 of Swiss engineering. Useless. The bottle hits the floor. Formula splashes across Italian leather shoes. The pacifier disappeared 10 minutes ago, thrown by tiny fists that don't know what they're fighting. Sir, the flight nurse's voice shakes. She's 24, hired yesterday, already regretting it. Maybe we should. No, Rafe's voice could stop a heartbeat. No drugs. Across the aisle, executives pretend to work. Laptops glow. Nobody types. Armed security stands near the cockpit door, stone-faced, helpless. This is a private charter. Rafe owns the plane, owns half the East Coast, survived a bullet to the chest in Atlanta, buried 11 enemies before his 30th birthday. But this crying, this won't stop. The baby arches his back, gasps, screams again. It's not hunger, not pain. The pediatrician checked everything before takeoff. Clean bill of health, perfect vitals, no explanation. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Rafe's thumb brushes his son's cheek. Gentle, desperate, the kind of touch that doesn't belong to a man who once broke someone's collarbone with his bare hands for disrespect. The baby doesn't calm, doesn't recognize him, just keeps crying like something essential is missing from the air itself. The flight nurse inches backward. Smart girl. How long until we land? Rafe doesn't look up. 2 hours, sir. 2 hours might as well be 2 years. The cabin feels smaller now, tighter, like the walls are listening. Someone coughs. Another passenger shifts weight. Everyone's watching without watching. That's the rule when you fly with Rafe Calderone. Eyes down, mouth shut, survival. But instinct is louder than rules. And somewhere in this cabin, someone's instinct is screaming. 3 rows back, past the partitions separating first class from the private section, a hooded figure presses trembling fingers against a swollen belly. 8 months pregnant. Male, Omega. Scent blockers barely holding under the strain of altitude and adrenaline. The hood stays up, head stays down. But the hands can't stay still. Every time the baby cries, those fingers clench. Release, clench again. Like they're remembering something the mind refuses to admit. The Omega's breathing shifts, shallow, controlled, the kind of control that only comes from practice, from months of hiding. The baby screams again. The Omega's eyes close. And for just 1 second, lips move, whispering something no one else can hear. A name. The flight attendant walks past with water, doesn't notice. Security scans the cabin, doesn't notice. Rafe rocks his son, jaw tight, eyes burning. Doesn't notice. But the baby turns his head. Just slightly. Toward the back of the plane. Toward the Omega who isn't supposed to exist. What could make a 3-month-old baby react to someone he's never met, or has he? Rafe Calderone built an empire on control. Every decision calculated, every risk measured, every enemy buried before they saw the knife coming. At 32, he runs the East Coast syndicate like clockwork. No waste, no mercy, no mistakes. Until now. The baby's cries turn hoarse, desperate, like he's calling for something that isn't there. Rafe adjusts his grip. Careful, his hands, scarred knuckles, tattooed fingers, dwarf the tiny body. These same hands signed execution orders last month, held a gun to a man's temple in a warehouse in Newark. Now they cradle life. And fail. Maybe try the blanket again. The flight nurse hovers. Too close. Rafe's eyes flick to her. She steps back, fast. I tried the blanket. Right, yes, of course. She retreats to her station, pulls out her phone. Rafe sees the screen glow. She's texting someone, probably her boyfriend, telling him she's having the worst day of her life. She has no idea what worst actually looks like. The baby gasps, hiccups, screams again. Rafe's chest tightens. Not fear, he doesn't do fear, but something close, something unnamed. The doctors said he was fine, healthy, strong lungs, good weight, everything normal. But this crying started the moment they lifted off from Miami, hasn't stopped since. Like the baby knows. Knows what? Rafe doesn't let himself think. He shifts in the seat, leather creaks. The cabin smells like expensive cologne and recycled air and something else, something faint, sweet, almost familiar. Rafe's alpha senses twitch. He scans the cabin. Executives avoid eye contact. Security watches the door, everything normal. Except it's not. The baby thrashes, tiny fists beat against Rafe's chest. No rhythm, just panic, pure, unfiltered, the kind of panic that comes from loss, from absence. Rafe rocks him, hums low, nothing works. He's negotiated with cartel bosses, stared down federal agents, survived 3 attempts on his life. But soothing a baby? Impossible. The flight attendant approaches, mid-40s, professional. She's worked this route before, knows the rules. Sir, if you need anything. I don't. Of course, she nods, backs away, but her eyes linger on the baby. Concern, real concern, not fear of Rafe, just human decency seeing a child in distress. Rafe almost tells her to leave, but the baby screams again. Louder, the sound drills into his skull. His pulse climbs, not from anger, from helplessness. That's the worst part, not the noise, the helplessness. Somewhere behind him, fabric rustles. Soft, almost silent. But Rafe hears it. Instinct sharpened by years of danger never sleeps. He doesn't turn, doesn't need to. Someone moved, someone reacted, not to him, to the baby. The crying continues, relentless. And then, a scent. Faint, muted, barely there, but unmistakable. Omega. Rafe's nostrils flare, his head turns, just slightly, eyes scanning. The scent blockers are strong, medical grade, but nothing's perfect at this altitude. Stress breaks things down, adrenaline burns through chemicals. Someone on this plane is hiding. Why would an Omega hide on a private charter full of armed security, unless they had no other choice? Kael Rowan keeps his head down, hood up, hands folded over his belly. The baby he carries kicks, hard, like he knows, like he feels his brother's distress 3 rows away. Kael's breath comes shallow, controlled, in through the nose, out through the mouth. The meditation app he downloaded said it would help with anxiety. It lied. Every scream from the front of the plane punches through his chest, not metaphorically, physically, like his body recognizes what his mind refuses to accept. That's his son, his baby, the one they told him died, the one Rafe took. No, not took. The one Rafe was told to take, by people Kael trusted, people who smiled and lied and destroyed everything. Kael's fingers dig into his thighs, the fabric of his sweatpants bunches. He's dressed down, baggy clothes, no jewelry, no scent, nothing that screams Omega, nothing that screams anything, just another passenger, anonymous, safe. Except he's not safe. He's on a plane with the man who cast him out, the man who believed lies without asking questions, the man who... The baby screams again. Kael's eyes squeeze shut, his body reacts. Instinct, biology. Omega instinct doesn't care about betrayal, doesn't care about exile. It hears a pup in distress and demands action. His chest aches, milk production triggered by stress, by proximity, by the sound of his child crying. He presses a hand to his sternum, breathes. The scent blockers itch, chemical burn against his glands. He reapplied them in the airport bathroom. Double dose, risky, but necessary, if Rafe caught his scent. Don't think about it. But his body already knows the alpha is close, knows the bond never broke. Biology doesn't break, people do. Kael shifts in his seat. The window shows nothing but clouds. White, endless, 30,000 feet between him and the ground. No escape. He booked this flight under a fake name. Marcus Webb, paid cash, wore sunglasses and a baseball cap, blended in. The ticket agent didn't blink. Why would she? Just another traveler. Except travelers don't tremble when Barbies cry. The baby's wails crack, hoarse now, exhausted. Kael's hands shake. He grips his belly, feels the kicks, strong, healthy. His second son, due in 4 weeks. He's been alone for all of it. No alpha, no family. Just him and the growing life inside him and the crushing weight of knowing his first child is alive. Stolen, but alive. The flight attendant passes, offers water. Kael shakes his head, keeps his face hidden. She moves on, doesn't notice the way his pulse hammers. The way sweat beads at his hairline, despite the cabin's cool air. The baby screams. Kael's resolve cracks. Just slightly. He looks up just for a second, through the gap in the partition. He can see Rafe's shoulder, the dark suit, the gold watch catching light, the way Rafe holds the baby. Gentle, desperate, lost. And Kael hates him. Hates him for believing the lies, hates him for not fighting for the truth, hates him for not knowing that Kael is alive, right here, 3 rows back, hatting him and wanting to help and hatting himself for wanting to help. The baby reaches, tiny hand grasping at air, at nothing. At something. Kael's breath catches. The baby's face turns, just slightly, toward the back of the plane, toward Kael, eyes unfocused, but searching. Impossible. Barbies don't do that. They can't. They don't have the cognitive ability, the spatial awareness. The baby reaches again. And Kael's body moves before his mind can stop it. He stands. What happens when instinct overrides survival, and an entire plane realizes the Omega who's supposed to be dead is very much alive? 6 months ago, Kael Rowan stood in Rafe Calderone's office and watched his life end. Not die end, there's a difference. Death is quick, ending is slow, drawn out, painful, like drowning in air. The office smelled like leather and whiskey and old money. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Manhattan glittered below. Beautiful, cold Rafe sat behind his desk, silent, stone-faced. The file lay open between them. Evidence, photos, bank statements, emails. All's fake. But Kael didn't know that yet. You sold us out. Rafe's voice was flat, emotionless, the kind of tone that didn't need volume to cut. Kael's hands shook. I didn't. 3 men died. Rafe stood, slow, controlled. Alpha dominance rolled off him in waves, suffocating, because someone leaked our transport route. Someone told the Volkov family exactly where we'd be, exactly when. It wasn't me. Your phone records say different. Those aren't mine, I don't even. Your bank account shows a deposit, $50,000, same day as the ambush. Kael's legs almost gave out. That's impossible, I never. Stop lying, Rafe's eyes burned, not with rage, with disappointment. That was worse. Rage Kael could fight, disappointment just killed. I trusted you, brought you into my world, gave you protection, safety, and you. I'm pregnant, the words ripped out of Kael. Desperate, raw. Rafe, I'm pregnant with your child, why would I? Get out. Silent. Kael's heart stopped. What? Get out. Rafe turned away, looked out the window, hands in his pockets, dismissive, final. You have 24 hours to leave the city. If you're still here after that, I can't protect you. My people will want blood, and I won't stop them. Rafe plays. 24 hours. Kael stood frozen, his mind screamed, his body shook, pregnant, alone, accused of a crime he didn't commit, and the man he loved, the man whose child grew inside him, wouldn't even look at him. I didn't do this, Kael's voice broke. I swear on our baby's life, I didn't. Don't, Rafe's jaw clenched. Don't use the baby as a shield, Lave. That was the last time they spoke. Kael left the office, stumbled into the elevator, made it to the lobby before he collapsed. Security pulled him up, dragged him outside, threw him on the sidewalk like trash. No one helped, no one looked. In Rafe's world, you're either protected or invisible. Kael became invisible. He ran, took a bus to Jersey, stayed in a motel that smelled like mold and regret, cried until his throat bled, and then he stopped crying, because crying doesn't change anything, doesn't prove innocence, doesn't bring back trust. He found work, under-the-table jobs, cleaning, stocking shelves, anything that didn't ask questions, saved every dollar, bought prenatal vitamins with money meant for food, slept on floors, on benches, anywhere safe. And he survived. Because that's what Omegas do, survive. 2 months later he heard the news. Marovane, Rafe's right hand, his most trusted advisor, found the real traitor. Some low-level soldier with gambling debts. Justice was swift. The soldier disappeared. Case closed. But no one came looking for Kael. No one said sorry. No one told him his son was born. Kael learned about the baby from a news article. East Coast Alpha welcomes heir. The photo showed Rafe leaving a hospital. Alone, no Omega, no mate, just Rafe and a tiny bundle wrapped in blue. The article said the mother died in childbirth. Kael read it 17 times, memorized every word, every lie. They told Rafe he was dead. They told Kael his baby was gone. And everyone believed it. Until now. Now Kael stands in the aisle of a private plane, hood falling back, scent blockers failing, 8 months pregnant, alive, and staring at the man who threw him away. Rafe turns, their eyes meet, the cabin holds its breath. And the baby stops crying. Just for a second. Just long enough to reach. When the past crashes into the present at 30,000 feet, who pays the price? The Alpha who believed lies, or the Omega who survived them? The cabin erupts. Not with sound, with motion. Security moves first. Hands on weapons, not drawn, not yet, but ready. The executives freeze. Laptops forgotten, eyes wide. The flight attendant backs toward the cockpit. Smart, the nurse presses against the wall. Survival instinct. Rafe doesn't move. Just stares. At the Omega, at Kael, at the ghost who isn't supposed to be breathing. The scent hits him now, fully, unmistakable, sweet, warm, familiar. The scent blockers burned off. Stress, adrenaline, biology. Kael stands in the aisle, hands protective over his belly, chest heaving, eyes locked on the baby in Rafe's arms, not on Rafe, on the baby. Sit down, Rafe's voice is low, dangerous, alpha command laced through every syllable. Kael doesn't sit. I said. He needs me, Kael's voice shakes, but he doesn't back down, doesn't lower his eyes. Submission isn't in him anymore. Exhale burned it out. The baby whimpers, softer now, confused, tiny head turning toward Kael, toward the scent, the voice, the thing he's been screaming for since takeoff. Rafe's grip tightens, protective, possessive, you're supposed to be dead. I know, Kael takes one step forward, security tenses, hands move closer to holsters. Kael sees it, doesn't stop, but I'm not, and he's crying because he knows. Knows what? That I'm his father. The word lands like a gunshot. Father, not mother, not surrogate. Father, Omega, male, pregnant, standing 3 feet away from the alpha who destroyed him. Rafe's jaw works, his mind races, trying to process, trying to calculate, but the baby is reaching now. Both hands, grasping, whimpering, not crying, just reaching. Let me hold him, Kael's voice cracks. Please, just let me. You betrayed me. I didn't. The evidence was fake. Kael's eyes burn, not with tears, with rage. All of it, and you didn't even ask, didn't even question, just threw me away like I was nothing. Rafe stands, slow, the baby clutched to his chest. Alpha presence fills the space. Intimidation, dominance, but Kael doesn't flinch, not anymore. You think I wanted to believe it? Rafe's voice drops, almost a whisper, more dangerous than shouting. You think I wanted to see those files and think you? Then why did you ask me? Silence. The cabin watches, no one breathes. Because alphas like you don't ask. Kael's voice steadies. You decide, you judge, you execute, and everyone else just has to survive the fallout. The baby whimpers again, louder, hands still reaching. Kael's chest aches. Milk lets down, instinct screaming, biology demanding. He takes another step. Security moves, 2 men, positioned between Kael and Rafe. Sir, one of them looks at Rafe, waiting for orders. Rafe stares at Kael, at the belly, at the proof of life growing inside someone he thought was gone. His mind screams. Logic, reason, protocol, all of it clashing with the baby in his arms who won't stop reaching. Move, Rafe's command cuts through. Security hesitates. I said move. They step aside. Kael walks forward, slow, each step measured. The space between them closes, 3 feet, 2 feet, 1. Close enough to touch. Close enough to smell alpha and omega and baby, and everything that should have been. Kael reaches out, hands trembling. Please. Rafe looks down at his son, at the tiny face, the reaching hands, the desperation in every movement, and something in him breaks. Not shatters, breaks, clean, final. He passes the baby to Kael. The moment their hands touch electricity, biology, bond, the baby transfers, settles into Kael's arms, and the crying stops. Completely. Just stops. Kael cradles him, instinct taking over. He adjusts his shirt, skin to skin, warmth, omega comfort, the baby sighs, deep, content, like he finally found what he was looking for. The cabin exhales. Kael's eyes close, tears finally coming, silent, streaming. He presses his face to the baby's head, breathes him in, his son, alive, real, here. Rafe stands frozen, watching, mind reeling, because Barbies don't do that. Don't recognize people they've never met, don't stop crying for strangers. Unless they're not strangers. How long? Rafe's voice is rough, raw. Kael doesn't look up. What? How long have you been alive? The whole time. The words hang, heavy, damning. Rafe's fists clench. Who told me you were dead? The same person who told me my baby didn't survive. Kael looks up now, eyes meeting Rafe's, marrow vein. And there it is. The name, the betrayal, the truth that changes everything. When trust shatters at 30,000 feet, can it ever be rebuilt, or will the wreckage destroy what's left of both of them? The baby sleeps against Kael's chest, silent, peaceful, like the world finally makes sense. The cabin doesn't share the peace. Rafe moves first, not toward Kael, toward his phone. He pulls it from his jacket, fingers tight, jaw clenched, eyes burning with something beyond anger, beyond betrayal, something colder. Understanding. He dials, waits, 3 rings. Get me everything on Marrow Vein. Rafe's voice cuts through the silence. Bank records, communications, travel, everything from the last year. I want it before we land. He hangs up, no pleasantries, no explanations, just orders. Kael shifts in the seat across from him. The baby stirs, doesn't wake, just nestles closer. One tiny hand grips Kael's shirt, the other rests over his swollen belly, like he knows, like he's protecting his brother already. The executives have disappeared, moved to the back section. Smart, this isn't their fight, security remains. Watchful, but weapons are holstered now, the immediate threat past. Except nothing passed. Everything just started. Rafe leans back, studies Kael, really looks at him for the first time in 6 months, the weight loss, the exhaustion carved into his face, the way his hands shake even while holding the baby, the cheap clothes, the worn shoes. Evidence of survival. Not living, surviving. You've been alone this whole time, it's not a question. Kael nods, doesn't trust his voice yet. Where? Jersey, Pennsylvania, wherever I could find work that didn't ask for ID. Rafe's jaw tightens, and the baby, he gestures to Kael's belly. Due in 4 weeks. You've been pregnant, homeless, alone, Rafe's voice drops, while you raised our son thinking I was dead. Kael finally looks up, eyes meeting Rafe's. Yeah. The weight of it settles, heavy, suffocating. Rafe's phone buzzes, he glances at it, his face goes stone. Whatever he's reading confirms something bad. Marrow set the whole thing up. Rafe's voice is flat, emotionless, the calm before violence, the ambush, the evidence, the leak, all of it. Kael's breath catches. Why? Because I trusted you more than I trusted him. Rafe looks at Kael, really looks. He saw you as competition, as weakness. Alphas don't have omega mates in my world. They have arrangements, contracts, but you. I wasn't supposed to matter. You did. The admission hangs. Kael adjusts the baby, gentle, protective. So what now? You punish Vane and everything goes back to normal. You get your empire, I get our son. We pretend the last 6 months didn't happen. No. Rafe leans forward, elbows on knees, hands clasped, the position of prayer or confession. Nothing goes back to normal because normal was broken. I broke it. I believed lies without asking questions. I threw you out without a trial. I let pride. You let fear, Kael cuts him off. You were scared I actually betrayed you, scared that trusting me was the mistake that would destroy everything you built. Rafe doesn't deny it. The plane's engines hum, constant, steady, the only sound besides the baby's soft breathing. I can't undo what I did. Rafe's voice is rough. Can't give you back 6 months. Can't erase being cast out, homeless, terrified. No, you can't. But I can make sure it never happens again. Kael laughs, bitter, exhausted. How? By believing me this time. By trusting that the next crisis won't. By listening, Rafe interrupts. By asking questions before making judgments. By understanding that power without accountability is just another form of violence. The words settle, unexpected, raw. Kael studies Rafe's face, looking for the lie, the performance, the manipulation. Alphas are good at words, great at promises, terrible at follow-through. But Rafe's eyes don't waver. The baby recognized you. Rafe gestures to the sleeping child. He's 3 months old, never met you, shouldn't even have object permanence yet, but he knew. The second your scent hit him, he knew. Biology doesn't lie. No, Rafe's voice softens. It doesn't. Kael's hand moves to his belly. The baby inside kicks, strong, demanding attention. 2 sons, 2 chances, 2 reasons to either rebuild or walk away. The flight attendant approaches, cautious. We're beginning our descent, need to return to seats and... We are fine. Rafe doesn't look at her, eyes still on Kael. She retreats. The plane tilts, slight, banking toward New York, toward the city that holds Rafe's empire, toward everything that destroyed Kael. I'm not going back to that penthouse. Kael's voice is firm. Not until things change, really change. What do you need? Proof. Kael meets Rafe's eyes. Proof that Vane did this. Proof that you're willing to burn your own world down to make it right. And proof that I'm not just another possession you're reclaiming. Rafe nods, slow, understanding. You'll have it. When? Before we land. The plane descends, the baby sleeps, and 30,000 feet below, Marrow Vane's world begins to collapse. When truth rewrites everything you thought you knew, how do you rebuild from the wreckage? And can an alpha who lost everything learn that power isn't control, it's accountability? Marrow Vane's phone rings at 3:47 p.m. He answers on the second ring, always professional, always composed, right hand to the king, trusted advisor, the man who kept the empire running while Rafe played father to a crying baby. Yeah. You're done, Rafe's voice is ice. Marrow's hand stops mid-reach for his coffee. Excuse me. Pack your office, turn in your keys. You have 1 hour before my people arrive. Silence stretches, Marrow's mind races, calculating, assessing, looking for the angle. Rafe, what's going on? Did something happen on the flight? You know exactly what happened. I really don't. Kael Rowan is alive. The coffee cup slips, shatters on marble floor, brown liquid spreads like blood. That's impossible. Marrow's voice stays steady, trained. He died months ago, the reports were yours. Rafe cuts through. The ambush, the evidence, the leak, all of it traced back to you. Bank accounts in the Caymans, communication with the Volkov family, payment records, every single piece. Marrow stands, moves to the window. His office overlooks Fifth Avenue, 14 floors up, beautiful view. He earned this, fought for it, clawed his way from nothing to right hand of the most powerful alpha on the East Coast. And now it's gone. You're making a mistake. Marrow's voice shifts, harder now. That Omega poisoned your mind once. He's doing it again, whatever he told you. He didn't tell me anything. Rafe's voice is calm, too calm. The evidence did, your evidence. The trail you left thinking I'd never look, because why would I? I trusted you. You still can. No, I can't. The line goes dead. Marrow stares at his phone, mind spinning, options narrowing. He could run, disappear. He has money, connections, resources. But running means guilt. And guilt means death. In Rafe's world, you don't retire. You don't resign. You serve until you can't, and if you betray. The office door opens. 4 men enter, security, not Rafe's usual team. New faces, professionals, the kind hired for specific jobs, the kind that don't ask questions. Mr. Vane, the led one speaks, voice neutral, you need to come with us. Marrow doesn't move, on what grounds? Theft, conspiracy, treason against the syndicate. The man steps forward. You want the full list or you want to make this easy? Marrow's hand inches toward his desk drawer, where he keeps the gun, just in case. The security guard's eyes flick down. Back up, I wouldn't. Smart man. Marrow's hand stops. 30 minutes later he's in a car, blacked out windows, headed downtown, not to police. Police don't handle syndicate business. This is something else, something worse. Internal justice. The kind that doesn't make the news. The car stops in Red Hook, warehouse district, industrial, quiet, the kind of quiet that swallows screams. They walk him inside. His hands aren't bound, don't need to be. Where's he going to run? Rafe stands in the center of the empty space. Alone, no security, no witnesses, just alpha and traitor and concrete floors that have seen this before. You want to explain, Rafe's voice echoes. Marrow straightens, pride won't let him beg. You got soft, that Omega made you weak. The syndicate needed strength, I provided it. By killing 3 of my men. Collateral damage. Rafe's jaw tightens, and framing Kael. He was a distraction, you know it, I know it. Alphas don't bond with male Omegas, it's unnatural, bad for business. I did what you were too blind to do. You decided that for me. Someone had to. Rafe steps closer, slow, controlled. You're right about one thing, I was blind, but not to Kael, to you. Marrow almost laughs. So what now? You kill me, make me disappear, prove you're still the ruthless alpha everyone fears. No, Rafe stops 3 feet away. I let the families decide. Marrow's blood goes cold. The families, plural, every syndicate Vane contacted, every deal he made, every communication, all of it exposed, sent to every major player on the East Coast. They'll want answers. They'll want blood. That's execution, Marrow's voice finally cracks. That's justice, Rafe turns, walks toward the exit. You taught me something, Vane. Power without accountability is just violence, so here's accountability. The door opens, 3 men enter, not Rafe's, Volkov family enforcers. They look at Marrow like he's already dead. Rafe doesn't look back. By the time he reaches his car, it's done. When justice is served cold, does it heal the wound or just close it? The penthouse smells like expensive leather and regret. Rafe stands at the window, hands in pockets, watching the city lights flicker. It's been 3 days since the plane, 3 days since Marrow Vane stopped existing, 3 days since Kael agreed to stay. Not in the penthouse. In the guest house, separate building, same property, close enough for security, far enough for boundaries. Kael insisted. Rafe didn't argue. The baby, their son Dante, sleeps in a crib nearby, finally calm, finally content. The pediatrician confirmed what Rafe already knew. Nothing was medically wrong. The baby just needed his omega parent. Biology doesn't negotiate. Footsteps behind him, soft, hesitant. He's asleep, Kael's voice. Rafe turns. Kael stands in the doorway, still pregnant, still exhausted, but showered, fed, safe. The basics Rafe should have ensured 6 months ago. Good, Rafe gestures to the cooch. Sit, please. Kael hesitates, then moves, slow, each step measured. He sits on the far end, distance maintained. Rafe takes the chair across, not the cooch, not close. Space. Respect. I talked to my lawyer today, Rafe starts, about custody, about rights, about making sure legally. I don't want your money, Kael cuts in. It's not about money, it's about protection. If something happens to me, you and both boys need to be. Rafe, Kael's voice firms. I don't want your empire, I don't want your resources. I want to know if you understand why I can't just forgive and forget. Rafe leans back, jaw tight. I do. Do you? Kael's eyes burn. Because 3 days ago you were ready to have me removed from that plane, by force if necessary, and now you're talking about custody agreements like we're co-parenting after a normal breakup. There's nothing normal about this. Exactly, Kael's hand moves to his belly, protective. You threw me away, didn't ask questions, didn't investigate, just believed the lies and cast me out. Pregnant, alone, terrified. Rafe's hands clench. I know. Knowing isn't enough. Then what is? Kael stands, paces, the movement agitated, restless. Time, consistency, proof that you won't do it again the next time someone whispers doubt in your ear. There won't be a next time. You can't promise that. Kael stops, faces Rafe. You can't promise that your pride won't overrule your judgment again, that your need for control won't. You're right. Kael blinks, wasn't expecting agreement. Rafe stands, crosses the space, stops 5 feet away, close but not touching. I can't promise I'll never make mistakes, can't promise I'll always choose right, but I can promise I'll ask questions first, listen before judging, and never throw you away without a conversation. Words are easy. They are, Rafe nods. That's why I'm not asking you to believe them. I'm asking you to watch, to test them, to hold me accountable when I fail. Kael's breath shakes. I needed a partner 6 months ago, not a king, not a protector, a partner. I wasn't capable of being that. And now, Rafe's voice drops, quiet, honest, now I'm learning. The silence stretches, not comfortable, not easy, just honest. Kael moves to the window, looks out at the city. I've been alone so long, learned to survive without anyone, without help, without trust. I know, and now you're asking me to unlearn that, to risk it again. Rafe joins him at the window, not touching, just present. I'm not asking you to risk anything, I'm asking permission to prove I can be worth the risk. Kael's eyes close. I'm so tired, Rafe. I know. I'm tired of running, tired of being scared, tired of wondering if I'll have a place to sleep, if I'll eat, if my baby will. His voice cracks. Rafe's hand hovers, wants to touch, to comfort, but he waits, asks first, "Can I?" Kael nods. Rafe's hand settles on Kael's shoulder. Gentle, steady. "You don't have to be tired anymore. You don't have to run, or wonder, or fear. Because you'll protect me. Because you deserve stability, whether I'm part of it or not." The words land different, not possessive, not controlling, just true. Kael turns, looks up at Rafe, searching for the catch, the angle, the manipulation. Finds none. "I need time," Kael's voice is small, "to heal, to trust, to believe this is real." "You'll have it. And space. You'll have that too." Kael's hand moves to his belly. The baby kicks hard, demanding acknowledgement. Rafe's eyes drop, sees the movement, the life growing, his son, his second chance. "Can I?" Rafe asks, hand hovering. Kael hesitates, then guides Rafe's hand to the spot. The baby kicks again, strong, healthy, alive. Rafe's breath catches, he's strong. Like his father, Kael doesn't specify which one. Maybe both. When words become action and pride becomes humility, can broken trust rebuild, or will the cracks always show? 3 weeks pass like held breath. Kael stays in the guest house. Rafe visits daily, not demanding, not overwhelming, just present. He brings food, asks questions, listens to answers, holds Dante when Kael needs rest, changes diapers, learns bottle techniques, shows up. Consistently. No grand gestures, no expensive gifts, just presence. The kind that matters. Kael watches, tests, waits for the facade to crack, for the alpha dominance to reassert, for Rafe to demand rather than ask. It doesn't happen. Week 3, Kael's water breaks at 2 a.m. He calls Rafe, hands shaking, voice tight, "It's time." Rafe arrives in 6 minutes, should have taken 15. He doesn't ask questions, just helps Kael to the car, grabs the hospital bag, calls ahead to the medical team. Calm, steady, present. The labor is fast, intense. Kael screams, curses, grips Rafe's hand hard enough to bruise. Rafe doesn't flinch, just breathes with him, counts, encourages. "You're doing amazing." Rafe's voice stays level. "Shut up," Kael gasps. "Okay." Another contraction, worse. Kael's vision blurs. "I can't." "You can." Rafe leans close. "You survived 6 months alone, pregnant, terrified. You can survive this." "That's different." "No, it's not." Rafe's eyes lock on his. "You're the strongest person I know, and you're about to prove it again." The words land, settle, give Kael something to hold. One more push. Then crying. Not distress, life. The doctor lifts the baby. It's a boy. Kael collapses back, exhausted, relieved, overwhelmed. The baby's placed on his chest. Warm, wet, perfect. Tiny fingers grip, tiny lungs scream, announcing arrival. Rafe stares, speechless. This is his second son, but the first birth he witnessed, the first time he understood what Kael went through alone. "He's perfect," Rafe's voice cracks. Kael nods, can't speak, just holds his son. Their son, the proof that survival leads somewhere. The nurses clean up, take measurements, return the baby wrapped and calm. Kael tries to stay awake, fails, exhaustion wins. Rafe holds the baby, stands by the window, watches the sunrise paint the city gold. 2 sons now. 2 chances. 2 reasons to be better than he was. His phone buzzes, messages flooding, congratulations from the syndicate, business as usual. The empire continues, but Rafe barely glances. Because this matters more. The baby stirs, eyes opening, unfocused, searching. Rafe adjusts his hold. Careful, gentle. "Hey little man, I'm your dad, and I'm going to do better by you than I did by your brother. That's a promise." The baby yawns. Unimpressed by promises, just wants warmth, food, safety. Simple needs. Complex delivery. Kael wakes 2 hours later. Groggy, sore, reaches for the baby. Rafe brings him over, helps position for feeding, steps back, gives space. "You stayed." Kael's voice is rough. "Where else would I be? Running's your empire." Rafe shakes his head. "Empire can wait, this can't." Kael studies him, looking for resentment, obligation, finds neither, just a man trying, not perfectly, but genuinely. What's his name? Rafe asks. Kael looks down at the baby, thinks, Zion. Zion Calderone. Zion Rowan Calderone, Kael corrects, firm, both names, both sides. Rafe nods, no argument, Zion Rowan Calderone, it's strong. Like his father. This time Kael means both. Days blur into routine, hospital, recovery, home. Rafe moves between the penthouse and guest house, never pushing, never demanding, just present. He holds both boys, learns their cries, their needs, their rhythms. Kael heals slowly, physically, emotionally, watches Rafe stumble through fatherhood, mess up bottle temperatures, panic when Dante cries, laugh when Zion spits up on his $1,000 shirt. Humanity. Not perfection, humanity. One night, Kael finds Rafe asleep on the guest house couch, both Barbies on his chest, Dante on the left, Zion on the right, all three breathing in sync. Kael's chest tightens. Not from fear. From hope. When actions replace words and presence replaces promises, can broken pieces form something new, or will fear always win? 6 months later, the penthouse feels different. Not new, different, like the same bones rebuilt with better intentions. Kael lives there now, not in the guest house, not as a kept omega, as a partner, an equal, someone with voice, with choice. Rafe made space, literally converted his office, added a nursery, changed locks so Kael has keys, access, control. Small things. Everything things. Dante toddles now, 9 months old, chasing his own feet, laughing at everything. Zion watches from his playmat, 6 months, observing, learning, both boys healthy, happy, safe. Kael stands in the kitchen, making breakfast. Simple, eggs, toast, coffee. Rafe enters, rumpled, tired, night feeding took its toll. Morning, Rafe's voice is rough. Coffee's ready. You're a saint. I'm tired. Rafe pours 2 cups, hands one to Kael. Their fingers brush, brief, familiar, not romantic, not yet, but not hostile either. Progress. I have a meeting today, Rafe sips. Supply chain issue, should be back by 3. Okay. Unless you need me to. Rafe, Kael cuts in, gentle. I can handle a few hours alone with the boys, I've done worse. The reminder still stings, but it's honest. No hiding, no pretending the past didn't happen. Rafe nods, right, sorry. Don't apologize, just trust me. I do. And he means it. The meeting runs long. Rafe texts updates. Nothing urgent, just checking in. Respecting boundaries while showing care. Balance, the thing he's still learning. He returns at 4 p.m. The penthouse is chaos, good chaos. Dante has finger paint everywhere. Zion's crying. Kael's covered in something that might be mashed banana. Rafe should be horrified. His pristine space destroyed by toddler anarchy. He laughs instead. Need backup, he drops his briefcase. Desperately, Kael hands him Zion. He's teething, won't stop crying. Dante decided painting the wall was better than paper, and I haven't showered in 2 days. Rafe takes Zion, bounces him, gentle, practiced. Go shower, I've got them. You sure? Positive. Kael disappears. Rafe surveys the damage, paint, toys, chaos. His old self would have called cleaners, demanded order, controlled the environment. His new self sits on the floor, lets Dante paint his hand, soothes Zion's tears, exists in the mess. Because this is life. Not control, life. Later that night, both boys asleep. Rafe and Kael sit on the balcony. Wine for Rafe, tea for Kael, city lights below, silence above. Comfortable silence. The kind that took months to build. I talked to my therapist today, Kael speaks first. Rafe started paying for therapy. No questions, no access to sessions, just support. Yeah, how'd it go? Good and hard, we talked about trust. And Kael turns, looks at Rafe, and I think I'm starting to feel it again. Rafe's breath catches, yeah. Yeah, Kael nods. You've shown up every day, even when it's hard, even when I pushed back, you didn't leave. I won't. I know, Kael's voice softens. That's the scary part, knowing it, believing it, risking it. Rafe shifts closer, not touching, just closer. What do you need from me? Keep doing what you're doing, keep showing up, keep listening, keep being human. I can do that. I know you can, Kael smiles, small, real, that's why I'm still here. The moment settles, not a resolution, a checkpoint, progress measured in small victories, in showing up, in trying. Rafe's phone buzzes, business, always business. He glances, ignores it, stays present. You can check that, Kael says. It can wait. Rafe. It can wait, Rafe's voice firms. The Empire survived before me. It'll survive without constant attention. This won't. Kael's eyes shine, not with tears, with understanding. Rafe learned. Finally. That power isn't dominance, it's choice. Choosing family, choosing presence, choosing to listen before judging, to ask before assuming. The syndicate still talks, whispers about the alpha who went soft, who let an omega change him, who chose Barbies over business. Let them talk. Rafe knows the truth. Strength isn't winning every fight, it's knowing which fights matter, which battles to walk away from, which wars to never start. Kael stands, stretches, I'm going to check on the boys. Want company? Always. They walk inside together, stop at the nursery door, watch both boys sleep, Dante sprawled, Zion curled tight, both breathing, both safe, both theirs. We did good, Kael whispers. You did good, Rafe corrects, I'm just learning to keep up. You're doing more than keeping up. Rafe's hand finds Kael's, slow, asking permission. Kael doesn't pull away, just holds on, 2 people, 2 sons, 1 impossible second chance. The story spread through the syndicate, whispered in meetings, shared over drinks, the alpha who nearly lost everything, the omega who survived the impossible, the Barbies who brought them back. Not a fairy tale, a lesson. That mistakes don't define you, pride destroys faster than enemies, listening matters more than commanding, and sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit you were wrong. Rafe learned it on a plane 30,000 feet above the Atlantic, when a crying baby refused to be comforted, when an omega who shouldn't exist stood up, when biology proved what pride tried to deny. Family isn't possession, it's partnership, it's showing up, it's choosing every day to be better than yesterday. Kael learned it in exile, in survival, in the decision to stand when every instinct screamed to hide. That vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage, the kind that stops storms no weapon ever could. Together they're teaching their sons, through actions, through presence, through the simple truth that love without respect is just another form of control. And control breaks. But partnership builds. The city sleeps below, the penthouse settles, 2 boys dream, 2 fathers watch, and somewhere in the space between what was and what could be, a family takes shape. Not perfect. Real. And that's enough. If this story touched you, inspired you, or made you think about the power of listening before judging, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another story that challenges you to be better. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts. Your words might inspire someone else who needs to hear them. Because stories like this don't just entertain, they change us, one truth at a time.